Hello everyone, I hope you guys are doing well. It's me Chetan Magar and welcome to my channel. Australian Senate suspended after burqa stunt in parliament. An Australian senator has been suspended for a week after wearing a burqa in parliament to push for a ban of the garment. Muslim garment. Pauline Hassan was condemned by fellow senators and later formally censured for the stunt on Monday with one colleague accusing her of blatant racism. The Queensland senator of the anti-immigration non-nation party was seeking to introduce a bill that would outlaw full face covering in public, a policy she has long campaigned for. Is it the second time she has worn the garment which covered the face and body in the parliament, and said her action were in protest at the Senate rejection her bill? Shortly after, other lawmaker blocked her from introducing the bill on Monday. She returned wearing a black burqa. As this a racist senator displaying blatant racism, said Mesrin Faqih, and a Muslim Green senator who the federal court last year found was a victim of racial discrimination by Anson, a judgment the latter is currently appealing. Fatima Paman, an independent senate from the state of Western Australia, called the stunt disgraceful. Foreign Ministry Penny Wong, who served as leader of the government in the Senate on Tuesday, moved the motive to ensure Hassan, claiming she has been parading produce as protest for decades. The motion, which passed 25-55 vote to file, state had Anson action were intended to vilify and mock people on the basis of their religion and were disrespectful to Muslim Australians. Wong earlier argued Hassan was not worthy of a member of the Australian Senate. In a post on Facebook, Hassan wrote, "If they don't want me wearing it, ban the burqa." She previously wore a burqa to Parliament in 2017, also calling for a national ban at the time. In 2016, Hassan was criticized for the maiden speech to the Australian Senate in which she said the country was in danger of being shamed by Muslims. It echoes her controversial first speech in the House of Representatives made in 1996, in which she swore that the country was in danger being of swept in ASEAN. Why 2026 will be a year like no other from Indian Sun mission. For Aditya L1, Indian first solar observation mission in space, the year 2026 is expected to be like no other. It's the it's the first time two observatory which was placed in orbit last year will be able to watch the sun when it's reached its maximum activity cycle. According to NASA, it's come roughly every 11 years when the sun magnetic poles flip the Earth equivalent would be the North and South poles sweeping position. It's a time of great turbulence. It's seen the sun transition from climb to stormy and it's marked by a huge increase in the number of solar storms and coronal mass injection, massive bubble of fire that blow out of the sun out, outmost layer called corona corona made of made up of charged particule or CME can weigh up the a trillion kilogram and can attain a speed of up to 3000 kilometer per second. It can hide out of any direction including toward the earth at top speed. It would take a CME 15 hours to cover the 1.150 million kilometer earth sun distance. In the normal of low activity time, the sun launched a 2 to 3 CMEs a day, say Prof. R. Rameshwar of Indian Institute of Astrophysics physicists. Next year, we expect them to be 10 or more daily. Professor Rameshwar is the principal investigation on visible emission line chronograph or BLC, the most important of the seven scientific instruments on Aditya L1 and closely monitor and decade the data is gathered. Studying CMES is one of the most important scientific object of Indian maiden solar mission, he said one, because the ejection provide any opportunity to learn about the star at the center of our solar system, and two, because activities that take place on the sun threaten infrastructure on earth and in space. CMEs rely pose a direction threat to human life, but they do affect life on Earth by causing geogrammetric storms that impact the weather in near space, where nearly 11,000 satellites, including 136 from India, are stationed. The most beautiful manifestation of a CME are auras, which are a clear example that change that charge particle from sun are traveling to earth. Professor Rameswar explained. But they can also make all the electronics on a satellite malfunction known down power grid and affected weather and communication satellite. How important are Indians moon mission finding? Why it's cost India to light or reach the moon and Mars? The most powerful solar storm even recorded as the Carrington event in 1859, which knocked out telegraph line across the globe. More recent events were recorded in 1989 when a part of QB power grid was knocked out, leaving 6 million people without power of 9 hours. In November 2015, solar activity disrupted air traffic control, leading to cease in Sweden and some other European airports. In February 2012, NASA reported that a CME had led to 18 commercial satellites being lost. Professor Ramisho said that if we are able to see that happen on the sun, corona, and spot a solar storm or a coronal mass injection in real time, record its temperature of origin and watch its trajectory, it can work as forwarding to switch off powers grid and satellite and move them out of halfway. There are other solar missions watch the sun, but Aditya L1 has advantage over other including the solar and heliospheric observatories sent joint by NASA and ESA, European Space Agency, which when it comes to watching the corona. Aditya L1's chronograph is the exact size that lets it nearly mimic the moon, fully covering the sun photosphere and allowing it to work it an uninterrupted view of almost all of the corona 24 hours a day, 365 days a year, even during eclipse and occultation, say Professor Rameshwar. In other words, the chronograph acts like an artificial moon blocking the sun's bright surface to let scientific continuously observe its faint minute corona, something the real moon does only during scaphial eclipse. Moreover, this is the only mission that can study interruption in visual light. Lighting is measure CMEs temperature and heat energy. Heat energy key clue that show how strong a CME would even if I had it toward Earth, say Professor Raveshwar. To prepare for next year peak solar activity period, the IIA collaborate with NASA to study the data is gathered from the largest CMEs that Aditya L1 has recorded until now. It organized on 13 September 2024 at 0030 GMT time. Professor Rameswar, so its mass was 270 million tons. The iceberg that tanked Titanic was 1.5 million tons. He said at origin its temperature was 1.8 million degrees Celsius and the energy content was evacuated to 2.2 million magnetons of TNT. In comparison, the atomic bombs on Hiroshima and Nagasaki were 15 kiloton and 21 kiloton respectively. Even though the number make it sound incredibly large, Professor Rameswar described it as a medium-sized one. The asteroid which wiped out the dinosaurs on Earth was 1 million magneton, and during the sun maximum activity cycle, he said we could see CME years with energy content equal to even more than that. I consider the I consider the CME were evaluated to have occurred when the sun was in the normal activities phase. Now this set the benchmark that will using the evaluate that what it is and store when the maximum activity cycle occurred. He said the learning from this will help us work out the countermeasure to be adapted to protect satellite in near space. They will be also help us gain a better understanding of near Earth space. Is added. Musk say H-1B visa being gamed by outsourcing firms. Tesla boss Elon Musk has said H-1B visa were being gamed by some outsourcing campaign, but the solution was stopping the abuse and not discriminating the system. Roughly 70% of these visas that allow US companions companions to high-skilled foreign worker by used by an Indian citizens working in sector like technology and medicine. In September, US President Donald Trump added 74 74,000 euro fee for applying to the H-1B visa program, sparking anxiety among Indian worker and employee. Musk was speaking to in- entrepreneur, Indian entrepreneur Nikhil Kamath on the broadcast released on Sunday evening, and also touched a range of other issue other issue from tariff to the immigration. During the conversation, Musk maintained the African has long benefited from talented Indian immigration workers, but acknowledged concern about the misuse of the H-1B visa program. H-1B visa were given out through a lottery, and outsourcing and staffing firm were from being accused of manipulating the system using tactics such as submitting multiple entries for the some worker, or using the visa to hire low-cost contract worker rather than for especially occupation. We need to stop the gaming of the system, Marx said, but I'm certainly not in the school of thought that we should shut down the H-1B visa program, which someone the right are. I think they don't realize that that would actually be very sad, very bad. According to the data released this month by a think tank, H-1B visa approval for Indian outsourcing companies have fallen to the lowest level in the decade. In this financial year, the top even seven companion had only 4,573 H-1B patent approved for initial employee, 70% drop from 2015 and 37 fewer than 2024. According to the National Foundation for American Policy, NFAP, Trump's policies could lead to higher denial rate and other problems for employee. The NFAP report were beside H-1B visas, Musk also spoke about Trump's decision to use tariff as a centerpiece of his economy policy during his second term. Musk said he had unsuccessfully tried to disrupt Trump from raising tariff, which he said create distortion it marked, but the president had made it clear he loved tariff. Early this year, the US imposed 50% tariff and Indian goods, including a 25 penalty for buying Russian oil, while several other countries have linked trade deal with the US. Indian goods export to the US continue to attack some of the safest lives in the world. Negotiations for a trade deal between the two countries are underway, with the goal of including an agreement by the end of the year. End of the year. South African hits back after Trump say US won't invite it for G20 next year. South African President Cyril Ramaphosa has decided as regrettable the announcement by US President Donald Trump that South Africa would not be invited to take part in the next year G20 summit in Florida. In a social media post, Trump said South Africa had refused to hand over the G20 presidency to a US embassy representative at last week's summit in Johannesburg. Therefore, in many directions, South Africa will not be receiving an invitation to be 2026 G20, which will be hosted in the great city of Miami, Florida next year. Members of the G20, a gathering of the world's biggest economies, do not need an invite but can possibly bring thought visa restriction. South African President Spokesman Vincent Magwaya said they should by now accept at the highest level of political leadership that there won't be a reset of the relationship between the countries, despite the by effort they had undertaken. If visa are denied, Alauddin will give to move on and look beyond the G20 in the US, he told the BBC in response to a question to how they would proceed. Okay, thank you guys.